What is land acknowledgement?
Those of us that are continuing our oral history are blessed. What we shared, that was told from way back.
We were part of the ecosystem. We were not masters of it.
You know, after we grow up from our biological mothers, the earth becomes our caregiver. Everything that we need is there.
We were raised to believe that everything has a spirit and that everything around us is alive and has a purpose.
The spirit of the land and our spirit. You can't separate land and people.
In Treaty 7 territory, I'm accepted, I'm something, and I'm with my people.
We honor our ancestors by acknowledging Treaty 7 territory. We acknowledge the Treaty 7 nations, the Piikani First Nation, the Siksika First Nation, the Kainai First Nation, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina First Nation. We acknowledge the ancestral territory of the Siksikaitsitapi, the Blackfoot Confederacy, and the home of Métis Region number 3.
It is truly a pleasure to formally extend, on behalf of everyone at William Aberhart High School, our sincere best wishes to an exceptional graduating class. Congratulations, class of 2021. Each year, the graduating class selects a thematic quote that is woven throughout the celebrations. This year's quote by Martin Luther King Jr. reads, "You will change your mind, you will change your looks, you will change your smile, laugh, and ways, but no matter what you change, you will always be you." Though the pandemic has changed so much of your high school experience, including how you are celebrating this meaningful milestone, you have accepted the changes with a grace and a maturity beyond your years. You have made sacrifices you could not have imagined would be required of you, and have done so for the well-being of others. Selfless actions such as these are the essence of our humanity and what make you who you are. The pandemic has taught us that our relationships with our fellow human beings are inextricably interwoven, and each of us is diminished by the loss of another. Never has the world felt smaller than it now does. The coronavirus has reminded us that we are connected to everyone else on the planet, and that what happens in New Delhi today affects us in Calgary tomorrow. We can no longer afford to think only of ourselves. We are daily reminded of the need to also consider the welfare of others. Borders are merely lines on a map, and we are but one human body. Most adults learn these lessons through many years of lived experience, but you have learned them before even graduating from high school. Google Meet classes have taught you that social media connections aren't the same as face-to-face conversation. You've learned there are things outside your control, and that some anxiety is normal. Uncertainty about the future is worrisome, but the future is never truly known. Reducing stress is good for everyone. Hugs and hand-holding increase happiness. Reading, listening to music, Baking, journaling, gardening, playing board games, and walking the family dog are simple pleasures that are worth holding on to long after the pandemic passes. We need less stuff than we think. We are stronger when we act together. Community is important. We've come to deeply appreciate essential services and those who provide them. Showing gratitude matters, and even the most intelligent people in our society don't have all the answers. Ralph Waldo Emerson writes, "The mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions." The knowledge you have gained from kindergarten to grade 12, together with your lived experience and the ideas which have evolved from that knowledge and experience, have stretched and shaped you into the person you are today. The pandemic will pass, and the world around you will continue to change, but you will always be you. You may have had to grow up faster than some generations, but look how you've grown. You are strong, resilient, fearless, empathetic, principled, intelligent, and we are so very proud of you and all you've accomplished and overcome, not just in the past 17 or 18 years, but also in the periods of remote teaching and learning and isolation. It has been far from easy, but you have persevered. While it is understandable and natural to grieve what you have lost because of the pandemic, I hope you will treasure all the wonderful memories you have of your time at Abe. Rather than dwelling on the loss of your last high school experiences, I hope you will reflect on the beautiful memories you have. The Latin poet Virgil wrote about the importance of memories in times of crisis. Save yourself for better times, he writes, for in those times, remembering what happened will help us. Take care of yourselves for a future that will come. It is my hope that you will look back at your time at Abe with fond memories of all you have had. I trust the lessons you have learned, the successes you celebrate today, and the friendships that you have forged will sustain you in the days ahead. Endure and keep yourself safe for better times. Congratulations, class of 2021. Felicitations, felicidades. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Our Reflection by Miss Rachel Peng. Rachel is a French immersion and AP Science and Math student, and her plans include either attending the University of Toronto or the University of British Columbia, where she will pursue studies in engineering. We wish her all the best in the future.
Thank you, Ms. AJ, for your opening remarks, and once again, welcome everyone to the graduation of the class of 2021. My name is Rachel Peng, and I'm honored to open with a reflection speech. I assure you, I intend to take full advantage of it and cram in as many cheesy but heartwarming sayings as possible. So brace yourselves. This is a momentous day for us all as we celebrate our successes, say farewell, and move into an exciting new stage of life. It is also a day to be thankful. Reflecting on our journeys at Aberhart, we think of those who helped us grow into who we are today. Thank you to the families and friends who supported us at life's crossroads, consoled us at dead ends, and endured hardships alongside us. Thank you to the dedicated, caring teachers and guidance counselors who forced us to learn despite the chaotic times, gave us invaluable advice as mentors, and joined us in complaining about not having a school cafeteria. Finally, thank you to the administration and staff for making school a safe, welcoming environment. We appreciate all of you with gratitude beyond expression. While some of you may be remarking how long and boring 4 minutes can be, others may be reflecting on the days we first naively set foot into the jungle that is high school. From being involved in Abe's phenomenal music, advanced placement, French immersion, or Spanish bilingual programs, various clubs, or athletic teams. I can't possibly mention it all. As school became more familiar, we learned to operate on 5 hours of sleep. We learned to make Shakespeare turn in his grave with our English essays. We learned to endure Zoom fatigue and the back strain of ferrying mountains of textbooks. Above all, we learned a foundation of knowledge and skills that expanded our worldview. This foundation will empower us to make better decisions and pursue our dreams. Of course, this past year has been far from normal. As I'm sure is expected, mentioning COVID-19 is practically a requirement of speeches during this hectic age of the pandemic. And who am I to disappoint? Many of us have struggled to remain motivated during this year of senioritis and on-off virtual school. The fact that we're still able to celebrate graduation, despite all challenges and adjustments, is a huge accomplishment. We should be proud of our resilience and perseverance. Students, thank you for being flexible, for the outstanding effort put into your education and achievements, and for enduring the limited culinary options available at Tomato Basil and Wolf's Tail. The memories of high school may become hazy. It is clear our lives will be special as we look towards the future. We will certainly experience times of joy and times of sadness. Our hearts will be swayed and our interests will evolve. Yet we will always have the freedom and the responsibility to choose who we are and how we live. Surviving a pandemic has uniquely prepared us for any life obstacles. No matter what the world and life may bring, follow your heart and remember you are unique, remarkable, and strong. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "You will change your mind, you will change your looks, you will change your smile, laugh, and ways. But no matter what you change, you will always be you." As we walk into the next chapters of our lives, let us relish in adversity, embrace uncertainty, and push ourselves to take risks. Let us be endlessly curious. Let us use our talents to work for what we believe in. Let us make our lives extraordinary. No matter where graduation may take you, congratulations, we did it! I wish you all the very best. Please join me in a virtual round of applause for the class of 2021.
It is my pleasure to introduce the 2020-21 graduates of the regular academic program. Students who earn an Alberta high school diploma obtain a minimum of 100 academic credits. At William Aberhart High School, it is important to acknowledge that many of our students far exceed this requirement. Through active involvement in programs such as athletics and fine and performing arts, and choosing to fill timetables with additional academic courses to enrich their overall experience, these students have truly excelled. We are proud to recognize their accomplishments today.
Hello, graduates of 2021. It is my pleasure to speak to you today. It's important to stop and celebrate our accomplishments, even if that celebration happens like this. Grade 12 is an incredible mix of academics, new experiences, fun, stress, and friendships. The impact of your education cannot be underestimated. But with all this excitement, I'm sure for some of you, there is also disappointment. This was not how your grade 12 year was supposed to unfold. Our world has changed in so many ways, and it happened in a blink of an eye. But you have made it. You have reached an incredible milestone in your life. But it's more than a milestone. Your graduation is an accomplishment that you've earned through hard work and perseverance. And it is an honor to be here to congratulate you today. The road before you is a blank slate, full of promise. As you cross the graduation threshold, you have only your future ahead of you. You are not defined by your past or by COVID-19. Throughout the pandemic, a quote continues to circle through my mind. It reads, "I wish it need not have happened in my time," said Frodo. "So do I," said Gandalf, "and so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. There will be challenges. Life isn't always fair. And sometimes it seems that others enjoy different opportunities. I have learned that everyone has a unique story with challenges, successes, and failures. Your story is just beginning. The CBE is honored to have been part of your journey. Whatever your next step may be, we hope you feel prepared and capable to explore all the possibilities ahead of you. The Board of Trustees extends a sincere appreciation to your teachers and school staff for their expertise, compassion, and guidance. Their support, along with the support of your family, friends, and mentors, has contributed to your achievements. Most of all, I want to acknowledge you, the graduates, for your hard work, perseverance, and commitment that has led you to this success. Congratulations, class of 2021, and best of luck in the days and years ahead.
Hello, class of 2021. My name is Christopher Usi, Chief Superintendent of Schools for the Calgary Board of Education. I am so honored to be part of your graduation ceremony today. I will start by saying you did it. High school graduation is a significant milestone in your life. It is a recognition of your many accomplishments and deserves to be celebrated. I am so proud of each of you and applaud your academic journeys. You have certainly had an unusual high school experience. You were challenged in unforeseen ways and had to walk through some unique circumstances. You have finished high school during a difficult global pandemic. You've had to become more proficient in adapting to changing learning environments. And yet, because of these experiences, you've become more resilient and overcome all of these obstacles to reach your goal. But your graduation is not just about the last few years of your K-12 education. It's about the friendships you've made. It's about the relationships you have with your teachers, coaches, and mentors. It's about the love and assistance from your family, all of the people who have been there to support you through the struggles and triumphs. They are all proud of you. While you might not have the ceremony or the stage you thought you would be crossing, you should feel an even greater sense of accomplishment. We know you're ready to take your knowledge and unique gifts out into the world. And I know I speak for all of us when I say we are excited to see what you do next. My heartfelt congratulations to the class of 2021. Bravo!
It is my pleasure to introduce the students that are graduating from the Spanish bilingual program. In addition to their Alberta High School diploma, students who are graduating from the Spanish bilingual program will receive a certificate indicating successful completion of their second language studies. This is a diploma in language competency, which is awarded by the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sport of Spain.
Buenos días. Me llamo Martin Poirier. Soy el director de programas de lengua del Consejo de Educación de Calgary. En primer lugar, me gustaría agradecer a todos sus maestros por su compromiso y apoyo durante los últimos años. Llegar a este momento requiere mucho esfuerzo, pero es muy gratificante ver el resultado y por eso estoy profundamente agradecido por el trabajo de cada uno de ustedes. Dominar 2 idiomas significa no solo saber palabras y frases en nuestra lengua, sino también acceder a 2 formas de pensar, 2 formas de percibir el mundo y 2 formas de expresar ideas. Al hablar 2 idiomas, ustedes pueden ver las cosas de manera diferente y tener una perspectiva más amplia. También pueden imaginar fácilmente que hay otras formas de ver intercultural con el mundo. Ahora sos consciente de su identidad cultural y su potencial con ciudadanos globales. Su maestro del programa de español los han motivado y han ensuado durante los últimos años para que siente parte del mundo hispanohablante. Ha sido un desafío, pero los lograron ahora con las habilidades que tienen en español y en inglés. El mundo les espera. Por ejemplo, el banco más grande de América Latina es un banco canadiense, Scotiabank. Necesitan empleados brillantes y bilingües. Ellos las necesitan, sobre todo después de la pandemia. Canadá las necesitará. Con las habilidades que han desarrollado, pueden estar a la vanguardia de la construcción de nuestro mundo. Contamos con ustedes para usar sus talentos para reconstruir nuestra ciudad, nuestra provincia, nuestra nación. Now, we all know that for most of you, you needed a little nudge to sign up for this journey. And we know that someone had your back all these years. I'm talking about your parents. Please take the time today to thank them for putting you on this path that has opened the doors of the world to you. Todos estamos orgullosos de sus logros y todas reconocemos el trabajo que han realizado para recibir este diploma bilingües. Ya son ciudadanos del mundo orgulloso, comprometidos y bilingües. Hoy es un gran día para todos nuestros. Hoy es un día decisivo en sus vidas. Esperamos ver la que lograron en el futuro. Felicitación y gracias por su atención. Los deseamos mucha suerte y éxitos para el futuro. Gracias. Hasta luego.
It is my pleasure to introduce the French Immersion graduating class of 2021. Students completing the French Immersion program will receive, in addition to their Alberta High School diploma, the CBE French Immersion Certificate of Achievement, worth a minimum of 45 credits. In order to obtain the certificate, students have to complete their math, social studies, French language art courses from grade 10 to grade 12 for a total of 9 courses. Graduates, your determination in completing your high school diploma in our French Immersion program is remarkable. Be very proud of what you've accomplished at ABE. Keep up your interest and passion for the French language and culture. De la part de vos enseignants et enseignantes d'immersion, je tiens à vous féliciter pour votre grande détermination et courage. Compléter votre secondaire en immersion française demande beaucoup de travail et d'efforts, et surtout un intérêt indéniable pour la langue et la culture française. Soyez donc très fiers de ce que vous avez accompli au cours de ces 3 dernières années. Il me fait donc grandement plaisir de vous présenter les finissants et les finissantes du programme d'immersion française de William Aberhart.
Bonjour, mon nom est Martin Poirier. Je suis directeur des programmes de langue pour la Commission scolaire de Calgary. Je suis l'un des signataires de vos certificats et je suis vraiment fier d'avoir signé chacun de vos certificats. Premièrement, je voudrais remercier vos enseignants qui vous ont encouragé, rabroué, poussé dans le derrière au cours des dernières années pour vous amener ici. C'est un travail épuisant, mais tellement réjouissant quand on voit le résultat. Je suis profondément reconnaissant pour le travail de ces dernières années. Mon auteur préféré est John Raston Saul. C'est un philosophe et entrepreneur canadien. Il fut aussi le fondateur de Petro-Canada. Mais surtout, il est le plus grand défendeur de l'apprentissage du français pour les élèves du Canada. Il se sert de l'image d'un couloir pour illustrer son point de vue sur l'immersion. Il dit que pour les personnes unilingues, le couloir offre les portes d'un seul côté, alors que pour les personnes qui parlent deux langues, il y a des portes des deux côtés du couloir. En maîtrisant deux langues, vous avez maintenant accès à deux modes de pensée, deux façons de percevoir le monde et deux façons d'exprimer vos idées. Vous pouvez voir les choses différemment, jeter un regard neuf sur la vie. Vous pouvez facilement imaginer qu'il existe d'autres façons de voir le monde et qu'il y a d'autres façons d'interagir avec le monde. Vous avez maintenant conscience de votre identité culturelle, de votre place dans la civilisation. C'est ce qui nous a poussés, et je parle ici de nous, les enseignants du programme d'immersion, à vous encourager au cours des dernières années à ne pas lâcher. Cet espoir que vous relèverez ce défi de vous ouvrir sur ce monde, tout en créant, en même temps, un modèle civilisationnel unique, bilingue, multiculturel, une nouvelle civilisation, la civilisation canadienne. Le monde aura besoin de ce modèle après la pandémie. Le Canada aura besoin de vous. Les capacités que vous avez développées vont vous placer à la pointe de la reconstruction. Nous comptons sur vous pour utiliser vos talents pour reconstruire notre ville, notre province, notre nation. Now we all know that most of you needed a little nudge to sign up for this journey. And we know that someone had your back all these years. I'm talking about your parents. Please take the time to thank them for putting you on this path that has opened the doors of the world to you. Your parents and nous sommes tous fiers de vous, de vos accomplissements. Et nous savons tous que le travail que vous avez accompli pour recevoir ce certificat d'immersion vous a transformé en citoyens du monde, fiers et engagés. C'est pour ça que nous marchons tous la tête un peu plus haute aujourd'hui. Et j'espère que vous marcherez la tête haute aussi. Aujourd'hui est un jour marquant de votre vie. Nous avons vraiment hâte de voir ce que vous allez accomplir dans le futur. On sait que ce sera génial. Félicitations. Merci pour votre attention. Bonne chance pour votre futur. Mais dans le fond, parce que vous parlez français, la chance, bof, vous n'en aurez pas vraiment besoin. Merci.
be homeward bound again.
Graduates of 2021, today I honor all of you. You are the students who have been marked directly by history. You've been flexible, moving online and offline. You've been masked and unmasked. You've been relegated to periods of aloneness and isolation. I thought long and hard about the words I could offer you at this time. I must admit, inspiration was very slow to come. All of my words seemed to sound hollow, and at times, I was truly afraid of acknowledging the elephant in the room, the pandemic. After many attempts, I decided to pen these words, as I've done in my classroom. I've chosen not to be afraid of the things that are difficult to say. If anything, the pandemic has changed the conversations in our classrooms. We have been stretched to make room for the truth. I go to stories when I feel lost. Any of you who've been in my class are familiar with my love of stories. I think at this time, perhaps like no other in my memory, stories have been even more medicinal. That said, I'm going to gift all of you with a little story. It is timeless, and many of you will recognize the plot lines. The antagonist is suffering. The message within this narrative is how we are changed during periods of darkness. This is not about meaning, it's always about character. When I was about 19, I felt that I had all of the answers to my questions. I'd prepared myself for post-secondary school. I believed that if I worked hard, positive things would result in my life. That was the message I'd been taught since I was young. I found this to be a paradox. Most good stories, especially ancient ones, contain this contradictory logic. I'd carved out a map for my life, I knew where I was going, and I was confident in my destination. I had a compass, a belief system in the Creator, the universe, choice, and consequence. Similar to all of you, I was setting out to find my life, my meaning. I was certain that my path would be smooth. You would think that I would know better than that. Stories are never smooth. Our lives are stories. One night, the story of my life radically changed. I was marked by the touch of deep slumber, but during my slumber, my mother woke me. All of you can, I'm sure, agree, when you're woken in the middle of the night, the news is never good. Ironically, the sleep I was in was one of the best I've ever had in my life, but my mother's words called me to wake. As I rubbed the sleep out of my eyes, my mother told me that my youngest brother, Jeffrey, had died in a drunk driving accident. He'd been on a rural road, and he had been the one who was drinking. He swerved, lost control, and hit a car with two young mothers inside. They all died. My brother, at 18, died alone on a rural road coming back from a party. His accident caused the death of two people. In that moment, I can tell you that I was no longer the same Miss Lutz. I imagine the molecular swirl of me radically shifting and changing in that one horrific moment. I was sick to my stomach. I wanted to run as fast as I could away from the news that I'd just heard, hopefully making it not true. I wanted to run from people. I wanted to hide, but I couldn't hide from the cries of my family. There was nowhere that I could drive that would take me away from this pain. I'm telling you this because many of you have suffered immeasurably during the course of the pandemic year. Many of you have used the classroom as a house for your stories of this struggle. We're living in a period of darkness, and we are being changed. All of our molecular swirls are shifting and changing. After the horror of this loss, I had no desire to return to school. Marks, degrees were eclipsed by big life questions. Remember how I told you that stories comfort, especially when we're alone, lost, and afraid? Well, I've been able to look at the story of my life and see some transformation. When suffering is the antagonist in our lives, we are changed. This is a paradoxical form of magic. I imagine all magic must involve some kind of pain. The Greeks and Romans who invented the map of story used suffering and tragedy as a teaching tool. Their students were just like you, on the brink of adulthood. These ancient sages would gather around these young people, and they would tell about stories about heroes and gods who had suffered from events outside of their control. Like us, they were fascinated with these stories about a fall from greatness to being a fallen human. They coined the phrase hamartia. During times of suffering, we experience that when we occasionally miss the mark of where we had originally intended. These stories are like our stories. I've had aspirations and ideas of where my life should go. In reflection, I'm able to see that darkness in my own life created the individual that I am today. I've chosen to surround myself with young people, learners, and seekers, and I hope to encourage and remind students that they are capable of magic during the storms of their lives. Lastly, I want to torture you with a moment of English teacher wisdom. I'm offering you this as a balm of elixir for life. At any point in our lives, especially during the dark times, like this pandemic, we have the authority to insert a metaphorical semicolon on the stories of our own lives. Often misused and misunderstood, the semicolon is not a superfluous punctuation mark. Instead, it is the magical mark of connection. Literally, on the page, it is a bridge between two complete sentences. With intention and art, the writer can choose to forego the closure of an ending and instead use a semicolon to connect one story to another, one complete idea to another, one sentence to another. This can theoretically continue into infinity. Here is the application for this grammatical magic, and I hope you carry it in your heart. At the darkest times in your life, when you feel alone and without direction, you have the power and authority to insert a semicolon in your life. You have the power to bridge what feels like an ending into a powerful continued narrative. You can continue this narrative without a known destination over and over in your life. These semicolons are the voices of gods, heroes, and mortals. William Aberhart, graduates of 2021, you are heroes of this pandemic. May you always wear your heart on your sleeve, risk failure over and over again, and may you always see the stories in your life and the characters beside you. Breathe deeply, insert a semicolon into your own story infinitely.
It is my great pleasure to introduce this year's valedictorian, Nicole Major. Nicole is a French immersion student who was very involved in the Music Council at William Aberhart and also took AP Math, Calculus, and Science courses during her 3 years at ABE. Nicole plans to study life sciences at Queen's University, and her hope is to pursue medicine in the future. So we wish you all the best, Nicole. Congratulations.
Wow. William Aberhart High School graduating class of 2021. We made it. After 3 years, 24 different periods of classes, hours and hours of extracurriculars and practices, uncountable late nights of studying, and living through over a year of an unprecedented global pandemic, we have finally arrived. Congratulations to all of you. I'm so honored to be here today on all of your computer screens, representing this year's resilient and determined graduating class. Although it may not be in the format that we had wished for, I hope that all of you are staying healthy and safe during these challenging times. We, the class of 2021, would like to thank all of our support systems and those around us for their continued commitment to helping us achieve our goals. Thank you to parents and families, teachers and staff, peers and friends, coaches and instructors, and fellow graduates.
You saw our potential and you pushed us to reach it. You encouraged us when we were at our lowest, and we are here celebrating today because of your immense support. So thank you all. These past 3 years, while certain times and classes may have felt particularly long, have gone by extremely quickly. Think back to grade 10. We were walking into the school for the first time, trying to navigate all of the confusing staircases, and learning that one of them doesn't even go to the 3rd floor. We were initially blinded by all of the different shades of orange that consume the school, and slightly confused as to why our school's mascot is a color. We quickly learned our way from class to class, participated in our first Filthy Fridays, and began to try to outfilth our friends. We wrote our first math tests, English essays, and science labs. We collectively gasped at all of the plot turns in the telenovelas from Spanish class, and we scrambled to get those final French passport stamps. Some of us were lucky enough to play our band songs on kazoos around a bonfire, and let me tell you, it was so much fun. Surrounded by a vibrant community of new friends, welcoming teachers, engaging classes, fine arts, athletics, and clubs, we found our place. We found our new home. Then came grade 11. We now fully accepted and embraced being orange and wore the color with immense pride. Projects, presentations, quizzes, and tests, and frantically studying some last-minute homework before our next class. Sports practices, games, and feeling the excitement in the stands and bleachers. Concerts, performances, and having months of hard work and dedication pay off on the stage, surrounded by our newfound family. Then in the spring, everything changed. We began to repeat the words, "You're on mute," or "Sorry, technical difficulties," more times than we could count. We learned that online classes meant that we could get those extra few precious minutes of sleep, and that we could quickly spring from our beds to our workplaces in order to be on time for our first period 9:03 a.m. class. It was devastating to miss the last few months of grade 11 in person, but in the Aberhart way, we stayed positive, continued to persevere, and supported each other at a safe 2-meter distance. Finally, grade 12. I think that it is safe to say that this year is not exactly what our eager-eyed grade 10 selves had imagined it would be. But this class is so determined and capable that we made the most out of the situation. We are undoubtedly stronger because of this pandemic and the challenges that we have overcome. We sprung into action, transitioning our way of thinking and learning. We were creative and flexible, which allowed us to stay in good spirits and achieve everything that we have. We relearned how to navigate all of the confusing staircases that were now one-directional. We tried to smile at our friends in the hallways, just to realize that they probably couldn't tell because we were all wearing masks. We learned how to awkwardly maneuver the hand sanitizer dispensers, paper towel rolls, and disinfectant solutions at the front of all of our classes. And I sincerely apologize to everyone in my classes for holding up the line by being unable to tear the paper towel roll properly while also trying to sanitize my hands. We went back and forth between quarantine, online, and in-person classes, and our teachers' continuous support and adaptability comforted us in the most confusing of times. But we made it. And for that, we should all be incredibly proud. High school is challenging to begin with, but this year we all overcame additionally tremendous obstacles. Even though we are not physically together, this community is so strong that I know that we are all celebrating together. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "You will change your mind, you will change your looks, you will change your smile, laugh, and ways. But no matter what you change, you will always be you." Aberhart has made us who we are, and regardless of how we may change in the future, our foundational character will remain the same. Our experiences at Abe have set us up to be the best versions of ourselves, and we will always remain true to the people that we have become. All of our high school experiences were different. We each learned our own lessons, but just as we each needed to learn to write a thesis statement and use the quadratic formula, we each learned who we are. We have become ourselves. I've thought long and hard about what message I want to leave my fellow graduates with. The reality is that each of the most important lessons that we learned are unique. During our time at Abe, we took different things away, and I truthfully believe that we each learned the lessons that we needed to. I encourage all of you to reflect upon how you have grown and what key lessons you have been lucky enough to learn over the past 3 years. Acknowledge, appreciate, and thank all of the fantastic teachers, family members, friends, and support systems who have helped you to reach this point. Take a deep breath and feel proud of what you have accomplished and how you have grown. Go out on your next adventures in life, remembering where you have come from, and embrace challenges ahead of you. We have become stronger, more resilient, and more capable. We have made it through some of the hardest of times, beyond what anyone could have imagined. So please make the most out of what lies ahead of each of you and know that you are able to reach your full potential. We will change our minds, looks, smile, laugh, and ways, but we will always remain who we have become at Aberhart. We will always be orange.